Hey guys, this is Starlight Strategist bringing you a deck profile. This is a Dark Kitty Cannon build. My other Kitty Cannon is in my videos, you can check that out, but this is just kind of after, I think I made that 3 weeks ago. I've been tweaking it, working with it, and finally I'm like, alright, I'm sick of playing dragons, all that garbage, I want to play Kitty Cannon again. So, busted it out, worked on it through Darken instead of Water, put it up on the dojo. People helped me tweak it, and guys, thank you very much for the help. I put all of the changes into consideration, and I tested with my teammate, Junk Monkey, put a link below, and we threw this together. We kind of messed with the ratios, added a couple things, and took it to duel day, got the bye round one, won the next 2 matches, and then kind of had to leave, which was really too bad because I was on a winning streak, this deck was just doing everything it needed to. It's been doing well in games, and it's been working very consistently. So I'm going to go over the deck itself, explain the card choices, and what works in the deck, and some cool combos that kind of filter into it. So let me get right into it. Alright, so we got our kitties. 3 Prickleback. Prickleback is just turn 1, real easy to play. I've mentioned in the last video how well Prickleback works with Steam Tank Krellin because it acts as a mini Gilflame, becomes a 4K that bumps back to hand if you break a shield, puts in a good amount of work, and really easy to drop the turn 5 Bronze Arm or just a Bronze Arm late game. So Prickleback 3, Razor Kitty 3, because Razor Kitty just being a 4K for 2 mana puts in a lot of work in the early stages in the game and helps keep it alive. I can't say I definitely preferred. Actually, I think it's the only turn to play. Preferred only turn to play. Razorhide. Razorhide was a card I kind of just didn't want to play for a while because I'm like, I really don't like top decking him. Alright, well, after playing this deck and after he just puts in so much work, sets up all these great plays, so I can't get over how wrong I was. So, yes, I was wrong. I love this guy now. Ramps me into all my boss monsters, and just helps out so much if I don't have the Bronze Arm. But Bronze Arm is fairly easy. This is a 40 card list, so having the Bronze Arm by turn 4 isn't actually all that difficult. Bronze Arm just comes into play. Being a 7K, turn 4 puts in a ton of work, adds a lot of pressure, generally dies very quickly. That's okay because that's more mana. If he dies the turn he comes in, that means you're up to 6 mana. And then next turn, you're up to 7, and you just open up for all these new plays. So there's really cool things you can do with Bronze Arm, and just being able to drop him with a Weaponized Zerzacat or a Prickleback, just really easy to get out late game. So, you know, playing 2 Bronze Arm a game isn't that difficult, and it just puts in a lot of work. Great card. And I've got the Steam Tank. This is the Cannon. I had 3, downed it to 2 because it was just too much. There was a lot of multi-civs, a lot of debate on that, and it just, in the end, needed to go. And 2 worked. 2 definitely worked. It was great play for first turn mana, just fixing my mana real quick. But there were games that just ended with 7 mana, Steam Tank into Razor Kitty, and just swinging for games. So, puts in a lot of pressure, and it's one of those cards where you drop it on, if you hardcast it with nothing else, your opponent will probably focus it down because they know the amount of hurt that will come if it stays on board. And then I got Tetsurian the Champion. Tetsurian the Champion is the last Beastkin in this deck, and people forget he is a Beastkin, and you know what? He makes just fine Evo bait for Bronze Arm. Don't be afraid to Evo over him into the Bronze Arm because you get the Bronze Arm effect off. Just really nice. But really, I wasn't going for the top decking red mana. It did happen. It works. It's definitely great. But just that mana ramp in general, being a 6/6K, double breaker, but that extra mana ramp just helps it so much. Accelerates you to turn it to 8 mana the following turn, and that means you get to go into your billions, your shatters. It just opens up so many plays. So, very nice card. And then this is an aggression deck, so 3 Gilflame. It doesn't really. A lot of games will end with Gilflame. It's just that easy. He's an excellent card, puts a lot of pressure, and if you don't have a lot of plays or a lot of creatures on field, you can just keep popping them down and just keep picking those shields, and it works fantastic. This was a card I added right before the tournament. This was suggested. I did not have one, but I was able to get one, and This put in a ton of work, let me tell you. So when he comes into play, you can attack an untapped creature the turn he comes into play. So it gives him pseudo fast attack, answers a lot of cards, and puts a lot of more pressure on your opponent because now you have a double breaker on field. You just killed one of their creatures on field, and generally you're swinging over something either the same size or smaller than it. So it, like I said, just puts in a great amount of pressure, and being a 6K, really nice. Being a mono red, even nicer. And then I had the one Spellbane Dragon. Spellbane, I never got to play him. Kind of sad about that. I wanted to see what he could do against the control matchup. Just picking those shields off for every time they cast a spell just opens them up for Gilliflame. And so I wanted to see what he could do. Sadly, never got to play him, but I'm not going to take him out of the deck just yet. But it's debatable. Then I got the Lord Skycrusher. General Skycrusher. Whatever. You know, just that 3K pop effect helps take care of a lot of small things. Test subjects, feather fins. I mean, I played Blurp. It was Blurple, a lot of Blurple. For some reason, Blurple just kind of exploded all over our league. So we came in, and there were probably like 5 or 6 Blurples playing. At least it felt that way. But Skycrusher pops a lot of Blurple cards. So he worked in that regard. Being an 8K double breaker never hurts, and that 3K buff is just very nice to have. Also works off the Steam Tank, so you're giving a 5K buff to anything you play onto the field. So real cool with that. Billion put in a lot of work. Just being able to swing at anything the turn he comes in, and just that fast attack. People kept saying, why not Bolt Tail? And it's like, what blockers really affect Billion that don't affect Bolt Tail the same? Bolt Tail doesn't really put in that much extra effort for what it is. I'm just not a big Bolt Tail fan, and I'm just not going to reduce this deck to a Saber Bolt. I won't do it. This is Kitty Cannon. Just stop. So I put in the Billion. Billion was a lot of fun. He put in a great amount of work and a lot of pressure on your opponent because they're just out of nowhere. You're like, oh, here's my double breaking fast attack. So good card. And Shade Blaze. Shade Blaze is one of those cards that might need to be a 2-of for the amount of work he puts in. Pseudo Steam Tank in a way, as when a creature dies, all your other creature gets fast attack. That's cool. But killing squeakies is fantastic. Comes into play, kills a squeaky, and then he can swing. And it hurts a lot. I mean, that 2K hits quite a few things, and it works. Being 8 for an 11K, just I really like this card. I want more of it in the future. I don't know. It almost doesn't need it, but it works. It's also a great mana fixer first turn. My preferred mana first turn was either Shade Blaze or Tats the Champion, or even a Steam Tank. I didn't want to drop the Razor Kitty. I wanted to fix my mana right away so I didn't have to worry, because usually I opened up with a lot of darkness cards. So, great mana fixer in that regard, and just a lot of fun to play. And then I got the 2 Infernus just to shut down the game, and Infernus is actually not that difficult to bring out in a deck like this. Does it need to go to 3? Probably not. I think it would be kind of dead at 3. Probably would see a lot more mana at 3. But at the same time, just having it, when you have the 9 mana and you get the Infernus out, it just feels so good. Let me tell you, you have that field locked down, especially when you're playing like a Tempo or a Blurple, something in that regards. You're shutting down a good chunk of their deck. So, great card. Triple Mez. Now, I had it at 2 Mez. I'm glad I bumped it to 3 because this happened multiple times where it was just, you have your kitty on field, you have the Bronze Arm, turn 3, you know they have the Darkness mana all knocked, you know that they're playing it. You play the Mez, look at their hand, bump that Mez out of hand because you do not want to lose the Bronze Arm, and they don't get to look at what you have, and you now know what they have. It gives you a lot of just field knowledge, hand knowledge, and you can make plays accordingly. So it protected a lot of things, kept me out of the water, kept me away from some bad plays, and just was really nice. Triple Mez, definitely huge thing. This rarely saw mana because of just how useful it was. Bone Blades was almost equally just as useful, maybe for this tournament, maybe not for everyone, but Bone Blades just, in general, it kills Gilliflames, kills Drakons, kills a lot of Blurple nonsense. Just, it takes care of a lot of things for you. I thought of running the Comet Missile. I had it in the original build, and it just wasn't needed in this because I had the Bone Blades. I had all these pop effects that worked really nice. So, Bone Blades, 3 of. 3 of Terror Pit, really easy to hard cast in this, especially after Bronze Arm dies, or just having it in shield, really nice. 2 of Root Trap, just a nice mono green to mana early game, because honestly you don't want to be ditching too many of the kitties, and it's just another Shield Blast. There's not a lot of Shield Blasts, but the Shield Blasts I do have put in good work, so works. And the 2 Shatter. Honestly, the Shatter was really nice, and usually I would Shatter them if they had just 2 cards in hand. I would just bump that Shatter, get rid of those plays, force them back into top deck mode. Being in top deck mode in this deck actually wasn't that hard to deal with, but putting them in top deck mode and having cards in hand put you at a great advantage, and there's no draw power. There's none. I was playing Great Arena for a while, and it just slowed the deck down. Yeah, no draw power, just straight up ramp, and when you're in top deck mode, if need be, you can just play whatever it is if as needed, you know. So had a ton of fun with this list. I would suggest you guys to at least try it, because it is just tons of fun. I enjoyed it very much so. If I had to make any changes, I would say maybe a Spellbane for another Shade Blaze. Perhaps not needed, but could be fun. The Spellbane could actually become a Tatsurian Unchained. I originally had that on the list. I just wanted to give myself that 7 for 8k and just have that kind of spell control lockdown. But it wasn't, like I said, I never actually saw it, so it never mattered. But at the same time, I feel like there are more useful things it could have potentially have been, but it worked for what it was. And yeah, this is Kitty Cannon, or Dark Kitty Rises, if you want to call it that also. Let me know what you think. Throw a comment below. Check out my other vids, and I hope you guys have a great night. Peace.